sure. Yes, just hey everybody. This is Jyunmi Hatcher and Beth Lyons of the Daily AI Show, and we are putting together our N8n instance on what's the name of the company? Hesner.
Hetzner.
Hetzner. We're putting it on Hetzner. And so we have done part of it. Jimmy, do you want to just say where we are?
Sure. Yeah. So, okay. So our overall purpose for this stream is so that you can learn with us. This is the first time that we're setting up this particular build and instance using these services for the first time. And that comes in two parts, right? So the big thing about n8n is there's a local install version, right? Now, all of the DAS crew live in different places of the world. So we're not going to just have an install on someone's local computer and we try to remote into that or anything like that. That's not going to really work. So our solution is to get some cloud computing. So get a cloud VPS or virtual private server. Now, now, for us, we're just looking around based on n8n's recommendations, right? So they know what they use and what's popular. And so what they suggest is to use a couple of different services. And anyone who's set up a VPS will have heard most of these names. Now, there was one we hadn't heard of before because they're primarily a European company out of Germany, but they do have a server. They do have a couple servers in the US. So price to hardware specs performance level, they seem to be the easiest one to get into. Now, let me share my screen here. Put that up on stream. Oh, hold on. Let me switch out which window I want to go to. Let's look at the n8n docs here. 1 second. Okay, so if you go to the website, first of all, right, you can use their own cloud-based service, and their cheapest entry point or pricing entry point is, I believe, something like $20.
$20.
Right? Yeah. So,
ooh, and that's annual.
And oh yeah, and this is on annual, so it's probably going to be like 25 or something, 24, right? So $24 a month with accessing their cloud services, or one of the big selling points of n8n is for local or on-premise install. So our on-premise that we're looking at is the Hetzner people, right? And so Hetzner allows you to build out servers. You have a bunch of different options here, whatnot. You do have to go through a little bit of an involved process of setting up. And you can see I'm kind of creating the virtual server right now by going through all of these choices. And once I've gone through that, then we can actually get into build into it. Now, the documentation that n8n has, there's a couple of different install methods. If you're familiar with working in Linux or anything like that, there's you can install using npm, or you can install using Docker. Now, Docker is super popular and is supposed to be the easiest one to use to get your instances up and running of this of various software. So we're going to go with Docker. Okay.
And one of the main reasons that we're doing this, other than that we are all distributed across different locations, is that when we looked at that pricing thing, $24 a month only gives you 5 concurrent timed, right? Something that you're going to set so that it's live and on a timer and generating these kinds of things or generating these kinds of automations that will give you the end results that you're looking for. You only get 5 of those with that $20 a month service. And this, we have total control over when, how often, who is generating it, that kind of stuff. For n8n. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So
hey to all our watchers. We're curious whether you're interested in n8n as well. Drop comments. This is really a build along. This is not a straight tutorial. We are figuring it out, and we invite you to figure it out with us.
All right. So I'm going to give me a second to go through some of the docs. And I just want to make sure that I don't have to install additional things for the server. Like, is there going to be a point where I'm going to need to create an SSH key? This is Secure Shell. It's essentially a method to dial in or connect to a server using an encrypted type of connection, or is that going to be handled through my own entry point into the server? So so I'm just going to review the documents here, and we're going to use the Docker installation, and we can go through. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and let me share the screen again. And if you want, you can follow along. If you have any questions, please please put them into chat, and Beth will get them to me because I am going to be full focus in reading the docs. So yes, this is definitely a learn along, build along situation. So I apologize if I go silent for a while, just because I'm trying to grok the information here. Okay. Yeah. So as you can see, the Docker install allows for a clean install of n8n. It's maintained versioning, so we don't have to worry about that. They normally, this is built from the aspect of choosing going from a desktop. So the server that we chose with Hetzner, the host, I should say that they already have a Docker app install already on all of their servers when they're created. So we'll see if we have to go through and actually install the engine or compose. Was that Beth?
Nope, that's good. And we're joined by Lei and Jen. I am hoping that I pronounced Lei's name correct, from Buenos Aires, and just like touch and base. It's 6 p.m. there. So.
All right. So this is if you wanted to use Postgres. We don't. Yeah, we can set the time zone, and we can update through the Docker setup. That's cool. That's good. I mean, that's
and does Docker just Docker creates a container that we're running this in? Is that a good
essentially
analogy?
Yeah, that's essentially it. Is Docker provides an easy way of maintaining the instance, so we can spin it up or shut it down as we need it, which is useful if we need to spin down the server for any reason, or it's have it only running when we're running stuff, and so we can minimize the costs. But
nice.
It does look like it. The choice that we're going with is it's going to be $5 or $6 a month at running, for every hour of the day. So nice. I don't think we don't have to worry about that.
And Lei is saying Docker will pull the latest n8n image automatically, which is another benefit. Nice. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. So, perfect. Okay. All right. So we can. All right. So, yep. We can. They already have it built out for Hetzner, which is great because that's one of the reasons why we chose it. create the server. Let's see if they need any particular things. Docker CE from the apps. Okay. All right. And CPX11, which is the lowest offering or the least offering,
Right.
is enough. So that's all we got to
Yeah.
do.
Because that's one of the reasons for this is that it's super efficient, right?
Yeah.
In some ways.
So it does.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, in some ways, they've stripped all the hand holding out, right? So it's like it's super efficient at this level. Cool.
Okay. All right, we'll have to pull this up. So the rest of this install guide assumes that we're using SSH. So we will probably have to create a SSH connection to the server, which is just a quick little extra step, but we can create that when we spin up the server. Okay. We can clone all of these. I'm just going to open up these links so that I have information to it. And we can create the volume. Oh. Subdomain created as order provider. Subdomain. Okay. So we can create an A record and just create a n8n subdomain. So we'll probably call that something like n8n dot.
Okay.
We have a couple different domains. Maybe we should call it something else. I don't want necessarily the server to be hit by everybody who watches this, but you know, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
No, I believe that we will pause the visual share.
After this, we'll just spin everything down, recheck all of our security protocols, and then spin it back up. Let's see what we got here. Okay. All right.
And just to clarify, we expect that we're probably here for an hour and not a lot longer, because this shouldn't take that long, right?
Well,
all right, we're here for an indeterminate amount of time.
Right. I'm not gonna put a label on this stream, but I can guarantee you we're gonna be on for at least 30 more minutes as I run through these extra documentation. A little background here for open ports. Since it runs as a web app, you need a couple of ports open so it can be accessible. I'll have to set up a firewall and put those allows in there. See, this is the kind of information that I was talking about on our that might be set up, right? So in our server setup and what we need, right? So number one, the documentation says we're going to assume you're SSHing into the server. So we need to make sure our SSH credentials are created. It wants you to open up the following ports in the firewall. I mean, these are all just good general security measures to take. So we'd want to go through and make sure that's created. And so when we go through the process here, you can see I haven't even spun up the server yet. We're just going through purchasing. And so we're going to want to create this SSH key, which is nice that they have that option here already, right? If you need to create additional volumes, here's the firewalls, so we can create the whitelisting of those ports that we need to go through. Of course, we're paying for the backups because we don't want to lose all the work that we do. A couple of these we probably don't need. And then yeah, that's probably it. So it looks like the two things that we're going to be going through the process is creating a firewall and creating the SSH credentials, the keys. All right, let's go back to the docs. We can adjust environment variables. And here's the compose file. Okay. All right. All right. And this is Caddy. Cool. And then we can, and then this is actually setting up Docker Compose, which will create our container. And then we will update all of that. And then we will go to the config. Is this already created? Here we go. Environmentals. Ooh, this is where we can get really into it. Okay. Pen file. Oh, okay, cool. Well, let's see if we have to set all of this right off the bat to just get it going. So hopefully we won't have to do all of that. Oh, interesting. This is everything from their GitHub that we saw in their nice little setup.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. All right. Cool. Storage box. This seems to be a certain. Oh, it's access from Hertz Hetzner. All right. Okay. Created as first activated support setting your storage box. For instance. Okay. Cool. So. All right. Interesting. All right, so there's some terms on here that may just be general to um, what they're talking about here. Oh, is this just the additional online stored data? Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay, now we'll go back into that. I think this documentation is specifically to add additional SSH support. So we will go back here. All right. Okay, so that was a relatively quick overview. Is there any questions before I start moving on from that?
No, maybe. What's the objective here? Are we trying to run an n8n Docker image in the cloud? Yeah, right. That's what we're trying to do. Lay is
well,
asking.
essentially, what we're doing is we're just spinning up a server so that we have a local install location for us to test out n8n. Otherwise, each of us would just load it onto our machines, and we just wanted a centralized location that we could all log into and experiment with. This
Right.
is not for any larger goal than that at this point. If we were trying to do a serious deploy or, you know, offering a certain service or anything like that, that would
Right.
require more into it. Right now, this is a hey, we've never done this setup, and so we're just trying
Right.
to offer a learn along, really learn with us. So we are
And they're
learning the process
yeah.
along with you.
They're curious to know if we did research on licenses. I think essentially, or to play with a local instance, you just need to run 2 commands: the Docker installation in the docs, and yes, I think what we so we are 2 co-hosts out of 6 on the Daily AI Show. We do a live stream every day, Monday through Friday, and we have some automations that we want to put into place that take an idea and create a show, and then take a show and create artifacts and publish it as video and that kind of stuff. So these are things that would be done potentially by any of us or several of us, and so that's what we're doing. When we used Respell before. Respell got bought by Salesforce, and so that's no longer an option. And Respell was really just like creating some things for us. It wasn't doing the automation of posting, or like creating thumbnails or any of that kind of stuff. So we're hoping to, with this installation, we're going to be able to automate a bunch of the pieces that have been discrete human-based automations. Like human in the loop has been the automation that connects different diagrams. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and to go to answer
Oh, thanks,
your
Lee.
question.
They watch every
Oh,
stream. They know we're more people. That's delightful.
oh,
Thanks.
thanks. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. For a local instance, all we need to do is run those two things. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to load it onto Hertzer Cloud. So I'm just trying to verify what additional steps for Hetzner Cloud that I need to do. On licensing, yeah, that's what my other answer was really referring to. Is we're not trying to go into the consulting services side of things as of yet. This is just for our playground, so to speak. Okay, so let me go get this server set up, and I'm just going to keep that off screen for right now until I verified the. I'm not releasing privileged information here.
Credit card numbers, IP addresses. That's yeah. Passwords, no.
Let's see here.
Well, this was like we weren't sure how this was going to go. We're still not sure how we're going to go, but I love the idea that we're able to connect with some people who watch us but are not but we don't typically get to know you. So that's delightful. And if you haven't watched us, we hope you will. We stream to both YouTube and LinkedIn, but YouTube is really where the party is when we're streaming, because we can because there's generally a conversation happening in the chat that is sometimes really filled with great information directly related to the show, and sometimes really filled with great information that is the chat has its own sub show or B story that's going along while we're doing a show. That's very nice. Okay. And I am looking at a different I'm looking at a different tutorial, not the Docker files, but a cheat sheet that was put together by one of the YouTube videos that I watched. And I've done part of this process, but not the full process. So I'm trying to figure out where I left off. There we go. Nice. Like, random question. When you log into Hetzner, you get to choose cloud or robot. Is that really like... It isn't that we could rent a robot, is it? I mean, or the robot.
Yeah, I haven't reviewed Hetzner as all the services they offer. There's a couple of different interfaces that they have and what they've offered in terms of their cloud offerings versus their web hosting offerings, right? And so most of these hosting services, they offer a whole wide range of different services. And so when in that documentation that was talking about robot and storage box and things like that, those seem to be different services, not necessarily connected to their cloud VPS offerings. And so, yeah, for me, I still got to explore that if we're going to engage in any of those types of
Right. Because we've actually had 2 robot shows this week. I'm like, "Ooh." Like, that's not like we rent a robot for, uh, a period of time. And I realize robots mean all sorts of things, but I am, of course, thinking this is like rent your you're giving us all the flavors of robots. You can like, is it a figure robot? Is it the Unitree robot? Is it the Optimus? Um, what flavors of robots are we doing here? Okay. It looks to me like I left off mine perhaps at the SSH generation. I can see that. All right.
Okay. Sorry. Just as an update, I'm going into PowerShell right now on my system and generating an SSH key. So that.
Nice. So if you look at n8n's documentation, there is there there is pretty detailed documentation, but also pretty detailed like, hey, heads up, we think that you should have some skills, right? This kind of information in order to move through doing your own private install, right? It's a little bit of like, you want to be this tall to ride this ride. Um, and it looks like once you get in, you can um, like the instructions are fairly simple if you follow them, but it's also a little bit like driving around with a GPS, right? If you have something occur that is not on your instructions, or you're being asked with your GPS to make a left turn where there used to be a road, but there isn't anymore, and now you're like, okay, I need some backup or some ideas. Um, so and Jumi has a little bit more experience with this, maybe a lot bit more experience in this than I do. Okay.
Okay, cool. So the process is pretty easy. Once you go through creating the SSH, it'll create a private key and a public key. The public key is what we're going to use for the server, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. There we go. That is what I'm looking for. Oh, interesting. your public key.
All right. We'll go ahead and create the firewalls next. And then we'll go ahead and create a, whoop, this is.
And are you meaning to show on stream, or are you still intending to be private?
Well, I just wanted to load it up before
Yep.
showing it off.
I'm good.
All
I
right,
just wanted to see.
Okay, so we're going to add these two. All right, so let me see here. So
hey, Jeff.
We'll go ahead and.
Good to see you on a Saturday as well. This is this may be like the golf version of the Daily AI show, where we're like, we see
the golf.
Jyunmi.
Oh, because it could turn into the ASMR version soon enough and be like, okay, now we're just gonna install the new firewall rules.
Jyunmi is sidling up to the firewall.
So I went ahead and added the 2 ports already. Those are inbound rules. We just need incoming. Yep. Okay. So incoming rules. Well, I'll apply it to. That's funny. Okay. Oh, it's in the same project. Okay, cool. So I don't have to worry about it. All right, so we'll create this firewall. All right, so I'll go ahead and show this. Where are you? All right, I'll go ahead and show this on stream. Okay, so essentially, as part of the Hetzner Cloud process, we're just creating a couple of additional inbound rules for the firewall before we spin up the server, and the n8n instance runs through a web app. So we just need to make sure that these 2 ports, according to documentation, are on or created. So we'll go ahead and create that firewall, and then we'll go back to our server, and we'll go from there. All right, cool. All right, yeah. Nope. We're fine. Okay. Oh, all of my settings were reset. I guess that's what happens when you don't click buy the server. Let's see. Okay. Oh, and the key's still there. All right, cool. And the firewall's in there. And we'll turn on the backups again. And we will create and buy. And we will just make sure that that was not. Okay. Sweet. All right. So the server has been created. And now we should be able to go ahead and let me just double check this. now this is fine. All right. And now we can go through all of the rest of the install documentation, and we will see. We'll get it going. All right, I'll probably have to go ahead and SSH into the server, and we can go from there. Okay.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Okay. So let's go ahead and open that up and get this loaded. Oh, I see. Aha. Okay, so that question about storage box and robot and all that kind of stuff, that is all the basic language the of Hetzner. So if you notice, I'll go ahead and share this on the screen because it's publicly available information. So this is the documentation that n8n points to in the Hetzner setup. And you can see that Hetzner says this is the way you connect to them. This is, do not be confused by this. What this is really just telling you is this is the domain that you're going to try to connect to with your credentials. Then it will negotiate between them with your SSH key. Remember, you're going to need your private key on your system so that you can so that can be verified, and then you can go through the process of then doing the rest of the install. All right. So with that, I'll go ahead and take that off the screen again, and we will go ahead and try and access. All right. I'll mute myself so you don't hear all my click.
Like classic. I'll mute myself so you don't hear all my click. Ooh, I think Jyunmi may be frozen. There we go. Okay.
Oh yeah. This also, side note, this might not have been the best situation for me to do this because I'm currently traveling. I'm not at my normal robust internet location. I am at a very limited to 5 megabits upload. So I apologize if I always come in delayed or.
No worries. We are, knock wood, having interesting experiences as a co-host crew with our internet. So be kind to your internet people. Or dump them and find other internet people. But it is wild to be in. I'm sure that everybody who listens to the show has had that experience or tries to avoid that experience of being somewhere, of making your own environment perfect for you so that you know you have the upload and download speed that you need, like how it's going to function, where your router is so that you can create a wired connection even if the majority of connections are Wi-Fi in that kind of location. That's something that we do for live streaming. Get a much better result when it is a wired connection. And then you travel and you realize you don't have any of that stuff with you. Your laptop is not as robust and all of those things. Okay. I am still trying to figure out where I left off. So let's see. Interesting. So let's go back to So did you already make your A record? Your A name record?
No. I didn't do that yet.
Okay. There we go. Okay. So that's where we are. Advanced DNS. There we go. Oh, there we go. I have a love-hate relationship with dynamic websites because it's so nice. Like, it's great that your website modifies to accommodate the size of the window or the service that you're using to access it. And it's awful when it doesn't. Like, dynamic done wrong is worse, in my opinion, than having a super tiny font or having to scroll to the side to read an entire page.
Yeah.
And in fact, Talk Studio is our stream host. Talk Studio is infamous for this for me because sometimes when you make the window smaller, there is something that goes over the send button for text chat. And it's like so not helpful. I'm gonna really need that button. Thank you very much. Please don't cover it up. Okay. Got it.
All right. Let's see here.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. So then, the other thing that I find hardest in all of this is to remember to take notes as you're going through.
Oh, notes, documentation, all of those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Let me see here. That's interesting. I don't think that documentation is really. Ah, here we are. All right. I'm just reviewing the SSH setup for Hetzner, and
Good.
the documentation talks about storage box and robot and things like that. And this is all managed or dedicated server stuff. So I am going to just double check the docs and see um, if I can do it from there. Oh, okay. I see what I got to do. All right. This is why this is a learn along. Let me see.
Yeah. Like I got halfway through this process and stopped because I wasn't sure about the A record addition to the domain when I needed to think about that and ask you a couple questions. And now I'm going back in. And when I look at the recent apps, the recommended apps based on my recent activity on my Windows 11 installation on my computer, I'm like, wow, I don't know what some of those things are. All right, I'm willing. I'm willing to entertain your suggestions, but I am definitely one of those people who learns by doing it. Kinesthetic learner.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree. I really want to just go step by step through things or whatnot. I know this might not be the best thing to show. You know what I feel like right now
What?
is that the way that we've set this up is this stream, and I apologize to the audience because there's a lot of downtime. Is those survival TV shows? I think we've talked about this before, where you get one of those single survival guys or whatnot out there in the wilderness, and you see all these shots of them walking across a field or past the camera or whatnot, and you realize that they got to do that shot and then go back for the camera, or they've got to go set up the camera, do the shot, then go back and pick up the camera. And these are like anywhere from 30 minutes to hour-long shows, and
Right.
so they're doing it, coming back, and then showing us what they're doing. That's what I feel right now. It's like I'm going through it. I just want to make sure I'm not, releasing, I'm not accidentally showing privileged info. And so I'm going through the setup. It's like, okay, I get it. And then I go back and I show people what's going on. So this is probably going to turn into a 2x or 3x process, just so that because we need to be careful. I don't know. Maybe in the future I'll think about doing it all first and then going step by step with
Right.
people. I just wanted to spur of the moment, do a live, see if people are interested or whatnot.
Right.
Let's see here. All right, maybe I need to. Can I connect? So right now I'm just verifying if I can actually SSH into the server right now. We have a public IP. the port is allowed through it. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. Baboos. Oh, if you've never heard that term, that's a local uh, Hawaii term, meaning, oh, I can't believe I'm acting uh, I'm acting dumb. I did something dumb.
Okay.
No. I don't know. What? Oh, again, baboos. Um, Side note, if this is the first time you're doing any of this stuff, remember to include all of the letters and numbers when you're trying to give a command. This is the thing that slows me down the most, I'll have to admit, is be like, oh, okay, cool. I see the command. All right, let me recreate it, put in the relevant information, and then I realize a typo. Like I didn't include, I wanted to access port 23 and I just put 23 instead of P23, those kinds of things. I timed out. All right. Okay. So I'm getting a timeout error on my SSH connection. And so I'm going to go take a look back at my firewall and see if my configuration is correct. All right. There's 22. Oh, maybe that's what I need to do. Oh, those are preset. All right. Save. Okay, back to my server. Everything looks good. Has anyone who is in our chat right now set this up for themselves? Should have asked that from the beginning, right? We should have just opened up the stream with like, okay, hey, we're learning how to do this. Has anyone done it themselves? Have you set up a Hetzner VPS? Have you installed a local n8n installation on a VPS?
I think Lei has, but I'm not sure Lei is still here. So.
Right. They probably realized that they did this already.
They had all kinds of potential reasons. We do not need to speculate.
It's
okay.
Right.
Yeah. I am going to go on mute because I'm going to have a conversation with Perplexity. And I don't want it to read out an IP by accident. So, there we go.
Why is this not setting? Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so maybe it's not there yet. All right, so the documentation says you have to activate port 23 services using their robot. We do not have a managed server through them, so let's look at our standard port SSH connection, and that is port 22. Let's see if we get a timeout on that as well. Yeah, we're getting timeout on that. Okay. So we will have to take the time to take a look at why okay, key is not in. Oh, okay, I guess we can show that. Let me show that screen while I'm looking at it. Okay, so right now, n8n is pointed to this Hetzner dock for SSH access. All right, so we can't do that because we don't have it, but and we already included the key. We're not using this format for our key, so this does not apply. It is an OpenSSH format. If I open to the key support, '23 OpenSSH and all of the algorithms. This is the generation process. Totally did that already. We activated the service already. Or did we? I guess that's the big question. Did we already? Already added it. Okay. Yes.
Just a heads up, I think I am here for another half hour because we are coming up at the top of the hour. So I just want to give you thoughts about that too. Oh, there we go. You know what would be funny is actually setting up a Gemini a Gemini view along, whatever. I don't remember what the Gemini service is called, but where it can look at your computer and like be looking with you at the same time that you're looking at your screen and give it the instructions that it needs to do the ASMR golf commentary. You're muted, but I think you're laughing at me. Or maybe that's a Sesame thing.
Okay.
Not sure.
Yeah, no, that would be great. Just watch my screen. Wasn't there a service that was doing that? Or it was just snapshots. It wasn't full recording of what you're doing.
That's
right?
what Gemini does. When Gemini
Oh, okay.
when Google service says that it can understand video, it's accepting video as an input, or it's accepting like live visual as an input, it means that it's taking a sequence of still shots and assessing them as video. Which,
gotcha.
I mean, we're back to film, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're literally back to screenshots of film and the ability to process them fast enough that it seems like it's uninterrupted movement for us. I mean, I don't know. There's something weirdly comforting about that.
Okay. Let's see if I what did I miss? I'm following some documentation you shared and see if mm-hmm. No, that's right. Oh, okay. I get it. Let's try this. Whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa. It should be the IP address. Did I do it wrong?
Nope. That is not what I want to do.
Okay. Well, that's a little better. I got connection refused instead of connection timed out.
One of my
All right.
one of my mentors when I was going through the Salesforce um, certifications process was someone who was focused, and I actually was an assistant in that, on helping people get the super badges as they move through, so that super badges actually gave you, am I saying the thing right? I think I am. Gave you kind of uh, mini certifications that showed like specifically things that you had accomplished and moved through, and they're tough, right? They're not. Salesforce isn't playing. Like, you have to know your stuff in order to pass these things. And one of his one of the lessons that he gave and that we gave, because we would sort of run like a quick thing that said, hey, okay, so as we're going through this, we're not going to hold your hand, we're not going to give you the answer, but we are going to give you the strategy. And the strategy was, you want to do stuff that's going to change the error message that you're receiving, right? Like, that is definite progress. And if you're not sure what you're doing, go ahead and generate an error message, right? Like, it will give you some information about where you are and where the thing that you're trying to do thinks you are. And that was particularly helpful. It's kind of against the process that we normally have. Like, we want to get it as close to right as possible before we get tested on it, because we want to do it well. But actually, from a tester standpoint, you don't necessarily want to get it as right as you can. You're fine just like, okay, I'm here, give me the error message. And there were times where you just went into it and you're like, go ahead, check me. What's the first thing you're looking for? I want to know what the first error message is, so that I will then start at that place.
Gotcha.
Okay. I don't think that was what I was trying to do. Let's try that. What do you got?
Oh, well, I'm glad we hit the hour. You know,
We did totally hit the hour.
yeah. Okay. So, this is where we're gonna.
Are we gonna stop?
Yeah. Okay. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go ahead and. No, that's not what we're gonna do. We are going to. Uh,
Okay.
Just putting a power card. This may cause data loss. Okay. No.
Data loss? No. Say it ain't so.
Yeah. If we shut down. So this is not where you'll lead to the hard shut. This action. Please note, we still have to bill powered off servers. Okay, so that's not what we want. All right. Well, if you want to stick around, you can see me rebuild the server because I totally messed it up. Ah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's let's see here. Let's sort of decide if you want to keep this event primary.
Okay.
Yeah, because basically I have to restart it up or reinstall how the server is set up.
Okay.
Because I can't redo it since it's a virtual server. So I think I'm just going to delete the server and create a new one. We don't need backups for it, and we don't need the IP address for it either.
Okay.
So I'll just reset it. Could just be 5 minutes. What is? Oh, there we go. All right.
Well,
So that was an hour of time. So we'll just go ahead and create the new server again. And instead, do it the right way. Uh, yep, that's exactly what I want. Yes. We want this one. Okay.
okay.
Yes. Keys, they kept the keys. They kept the firewall rules. All right, and that's the beauty of a virtual server. Alrighty,
Nice.
cool. Now we just have to wait. I'll give it time to be created and uploaded or spun up. Yes, this makes more sense. This is what it should have taken longer because now, so essentially, the big difference was whether I just created a server um, that had a Docker installation versus not a Docker installation. So, if you ever plan to spin up a server on Hetzner, just realize that you should double check which of the base installs you're looking at, whether you're just choosing your OS or you check the app section, which has the Docker installation.
Nice.
Simple mistakes. Simple mistakes. All right. Let's see here. Oh wow, Cisco joined.
Hey,
Jen's here.
Cisco.
Hey.
That's fun.
Jeff's here. Thanks everybody. Thanks Lay. Thanks everybody for joining. This was a bit impromptu, and like the title says, it's a learn along, build along kind of situation. So recapping while the server gets spun up again, we're trying to do a n8n installation or instance on a virtual server. n8n suggested a couple of popular services, one being DigitalOcean, another being Hetzner. After a look at some of the prices between DigitalOcean, AWS, Google Cloud, all of those kinds of things, and what we thought would be the easiest to maintain, we decided to go with Hetzner. They seem to have the most bang for the buck in terms of the server resource allocation and part of the Docker installation, which should make things a lot easier according to their documentation. This is the first time I've worked with Hetzner. So we'll see after getting over some of the speed bumps of getting the server up and running. We'll see how easy the Docker install is. We already went through creating SSH credentials on my local machine for public and private keys, installed those public keys onto the server, which is nice. The interface is pretty self-explanatory. I just I hit a road bump by not realizing that I could directly choose what app install for the or version for the server, and there's a Docker install directly there. I thought I had to go through a separate step for that. And then once the keys and the firewall port settings were set up, that information was saved as part of the Hetzner process. So if you had to delete the server like I did and start up a new one, then all of that info can be just transferred over. So it's shouldn't be too hard if you do a mistake and need to restart from scratch. Everything's charged by the hour, with a monthly max charge. So you're pretty much good to go on that side. Um, and so now I'm just waiting for the server to spin up, and I can go ahead and see if that has been done, and it is. And that way, I should just be able to now see if I'm at the same spot I was before in terms of being able to reach the server. Server's responding to a ping. Now, let me see if I can access the port. And right now, port 23 still is refused. I'm going to have to double check and see if there's anything else I have to turn on for that. We already verified that. Oh, there we go. That's probably it. Okay. Applying the firewall to the new server, making sure that is up and running. Let's see if I can now reach the port on the host. Still refused. All right, let me double check some stuff here.
Yeah. I don't want to do that.
Okay.
So Perplexity gives me not quite watching my computer, but lets me do add the image. It lets me take a photo. I guess Cloud would too. Maybe even ChatGPT.
Why? Hold on. Really? Okay, sorry. I was looking through some alternate documentation here, and I'm going to see if this is the actual
Ooh, Lay's back.
Oh, hi, Lay. Let's see here. Yep. All of those.
Hey to all our watchers. Our regular shows are much more exciting than this. This is a build along, learn along.
Very true.
And we're creating an n8n instance because running our daily show has some things that we want to be able to automate, both in terms of setting up the show, taking an idea for a show, running it through some automations, researching the topic, then potentially looking at keywords and those kinds of things. How are we positioning the title to hopefully get more eyeballs, and then scheduling the show. And then after the show, there's another series of processes where we take the the transcript corrected a little bit. Actually, Cisco is one of the things, Cisco and Jyunmi are two of the things that we look for in the transcript, because Cisco is always spelled Cisco, of course, because that's the tech title. And Jyunmi is generally transcribed as either Jimmy, Jamie, or June, period, me. It is, and so those things are automatic things that we want to get done. At the moment, I am the automation tool that gets used to make those changes in a transcript. And then that's actually what we run through an automation to generate the chapters for the video to get posted afterwards. Because, of course, when we set up a show, we don't actually know what we're going to talk about. I mean, we know what we're going to talk about, but we don't know for how long or when or what words will be used. And that chaptering gets done after the fact.
Yup. Let's see.
There we go.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, you've seen this. Yeah, Cisco, you've seen this for Jyunmi also. You can tell kind of how much time we had with the transcript before it gets posted. Yeah. Cisco's still getting used to n8n, not fully understanding all its capabilities, but realizing it's very powerful. So thank you. Absolutely. Like when we talked about Make versus Zapier, Zapier was like closed Legos and you couldn't really get in and do very much with them. Make was Legos that you could get in and kind of tinker with. Um, and n8n is like build your own Legos. And trade Legos with like your neighbors down the street. They've done some very cool Legos, those sorts of things. And it's incredibly robust. And also, it does definitely make it somewhat more complicated. And I think Carl was speaking to that maybe on Friday. He was saying that initially, when you looked at n8n, it looked like something that you could totally set up for businesses, and you can. But it isn't likely something that someone in just a regular business who would like to automate their experience with Excel and, let's say, sending an email, that's not something that without a fair amount of instruction, they're going to be able to intuitively like take ownership of. Yeah. Cisco is asking, they're on the free trial, probably ends in about a week. If they create a virtual instance using GitHub, will you still need to pay for n8n? No, because what you're using is the Git software, like you're creating your own instance of it, and that is open source. What you'd pay for in this thing, which is why we're doing it too, is the hosting of the Git of the instance. And we are using Hetzner Cloud. And let me see if I can find Jyunmi is like very, very impressive and doing this by just reading the documentation. I got as far as I got previously by following a YouTube video, and I'll see if I can find it. Actually, the YouTube video that I followed, this is like a deep cut into super fans of the Daily AI Show. There were like 12 hours, maybe 24 hours when there was a video added to one of our playlists that wasn't ours, and it was all about installing an instance on Hetzner. That's what it was. Because I got in and but like added to a playlist, and that was wrong. That was wrong of me. I should know when I am me and when I am the Daily AI Show.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Cool.
think Aaron got
I
that.
got a step further.
Hey, good for you.
All right. I was able to get a connection to the server. Now we're just going to verify if I set up the right password.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna have to take a look at that.
So I just popped a link into the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And it is by Alexandra Spalato. And one of the reasons that I liked their information was they do have this Notion cheat sheet as well. You still need to sort of use some there were some things that came up in my trying to install that weren't exactly on that cheat sheet, but I found it really helpful to go through. So like the show before you leave us to go watch the other video. Yeah.
All right. So let's see here. Why? Huh. Okay. It's running into password setup issues. So I'll have to verify that.
Yeah. Yay. All right. And so you are passwording your instance, you're passwording to get into n8n. What are you passwording?
Yeah, I'm trying to get into the server right now through SSH, and I can connect, but it's not accepting the password I put in. I mean, I'll try one more time. Maybe I typed something wrong. Okay, so it wants password for accessing the key. Okay.
Yep.
Oh. Oh, all right. Okay, now it worked. Sweet.
Hey, nice.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. So I'm into the server now. So let's go back to the documentation. We can go ahead and share that. Let me pull that up. Okay. So we're back to the documentation. we went ahead and created this process. We made sure we created some SSH keys. This is so far not important, but it might be later. And now we need to make sure that Docker Compose is installed. So let's go through this process. So we should be able to just simply copy this into our. There we go.
So, in random thoughts I have while I'm doing tech things, I find myself doing more screenshots. Like the actual snipping tool that was supposed to go away, right? Like there was the snipping tool that was really simple in Windows, and then it went to a different, more robust snipping tool. And I don't know what happened because it was supposed to go away, but now it still stays. Maybe everybody got really upset about it because the original snipping tool was fine. But I am wondering if I do snip an unreasonable number of things. Like I use it for all kinds of things. Yes, these are random thoughts that I have while doing random tech thoughts.
I'm gonna see if I can share a different screen. Can I do that? Nope, that's me, not share. Nope, that's camera. Where is okay? All right, I'll stop. There we go. And let's see. Can I? All right. Okay. Cool.
Woohoo!
So this is where we were at. I'll just scroll just a little more up to show you. These are packages. This is software packages for a component of Docker. And so I'm in PowerShell right now. There's a numerous, terminals that you can use. PowerShell seems to be the easiest. So I went ahead and gave it the command right here to do the first command, and that is the first one I was sharing at the time. Let me see if I can I share another? We will share that one again. Okay.
So when you see the command apt, do you also start singing the song that was like everywhere on TikTok for a little while? Jyunmi with the surprise face. That would be a no, Beth. I do not.
Actually, Beth, I might know what you're referring to. Why don't you sing us a few bars?
I'm not
Since
sure
you
I
brought
can.
it up.
Oh, that was very nice. Right?
If you didn't know, Beth is an avid performer, and so.
And her mouth gets her into trouble periodically. Did I just volunteer to do that?
All right. Cool. Let me go back to the next. I'm trying to share as best I can. So I'm going to hide that and put that one on. All right. So let's go for the next command. As you can see here, the app install Docker Compose plugin. And let's see if that one's faster. That was incredibly faster than the first one. Okay. Nice. All right. So we'll go back and now let's run through. Okay, now I'm getting this a little better. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and copy this clone configuration of this repository. We're going to get and clone this Docker caddy, and then we're gonna put that into our terminal.
Good.
And PowerShell.
You're about to come to a section I have questions about.
Okay. So since I showed you the gist of what each of these things do in the terminal, it'll all essentially be the same. All right, so that was pretty quick to retrieve that repo and install. And now we are going to change the directory to that repo. So cd just means change directory. All right, and then.
So we're not seeing your shell instance.
Yes.
We're still looking at the docs. Okay.
We are not. Yeah. Okay. Like I said, this is a I don't want to show nothing that we shouldn't be showing kind of thing.
All right. I got it.
Okay. So essentially we are in the terminal and we just changed it to this this directory, and now this right here is these are just things that we need to remember when we need to change change any configuration and things like that.
So
all right,
when you do your environment, your .env instance, you're going to need to know the hang on, let me see what I called it. The directory path with the path where you created the folders. Yes. Is that on the server or is that on your? I guess
that's on the server.
The server is the
everything's on the server.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though I'm using a shell on my computer, it's still on the server. Okay.
Yeah, I mean SSH is is the default secure CLI type of server connection. All this extra stuff like web and GUI and all that kind of stuff, that's for newer implementations of the internet.
So if the server address is basically tilde and then / and n8n docker caddy, is that the directory path? It's not. Are you supposed to is the tilde enough for the directory path? Or should I know what the tilde represents?
Well, the tilde represents whatever that root directory is, and then the deeper and deeper you in. You can explore a little bit by changing your directory, followed by a space and a couple of periods, and that that'll take you back further and further if you need to explore the full path that you have there. Okay, let me. Did I not copy? I thought I copied this next command.
No.
What's that?
I Control X the wrong thing.
Gotcha. And now my copy paste isn't working.
Why are you doing this?
There we go. Took a second. Finally did it right. Yeah, PowerShell's a little finicky terminal, and the terminal doesn't normally like standard UI GUI copy paste going on there. Okay. Cool. We created the Docker volume. That's here. And now we're going to create the Docker volume for the n8n data. The sudo is basically telling us to, a good analogy is like when you say run as administrator in Windows, that's essentially what that command is if you're not familiar with Linux or Linux flavors. Okay. All right. So in the background, in part of my troubleshooting, I already set up the DNS because I didn't think I needed to do it beforehand.
Okay.
But, and we did open these ports already in our firewall. And now we'll go ahead and create the environmental variables, and
Okay.
we will take a look at that. And it's asking to use the app Nano,
Right.
which is a text editor. Okay, let's go ahead and open that up.
And that's why I was asking about directory path.
Yeah. So we are. All right. So now I'm just going to go ahead and make some corrections here. Let me go ahead and I should be able to. Excuse me. Should be able to share this one now.
Right.
All right. Okay. So
that's what right? The directory path up there. Is that fine the way it is?
Well, hold on. Sorry, I deleted too much here.
Or do I put in a tilde? Because when I do CD space period, it only gets me back to a certain place. Like it doesn't give me full directory.
How far does it get back?
It removes the tilde. So I can get to.
Okay. Let's see. The domain name is.
Jen would like us to know. Oh, Cisco was saying that the sudo information was helpful. Because it scares him and he stops because even after he enters the password, he's not sure if it's working properly. It drives him crazy.
Yeah. Linux at the command line is not super friendly, but
not
it's not
for the
faint
of heart. Jen would like us to know that her onion rings are ready and her roommate is writing an application for grad school. So while she's hanging with us, that's too funny.
All right, let me go and let me see here. Where is the save? Right out.
Okay, here we go.
So it should be. Is that O? Nope. Sorry. What is that? Is that shift? That character? I think that's shift. Nope. That ain't it.
The tilde? It's above the
No, I'm not looking for the tilde. It's the what? Man, I can't even remember what that key is for the write out. It's what's the caret? What is that caret? I'm trying to remember. I'm blanking.
It's shift 6.
No, but that's the actual.
That's the actual caret.
Yeah, not the. All right.
Is this a question for perplexity?
It really is. It's 2 seconds of a search just because I'm blanking on what that command is from Nano. I do not use Nano that often. I think the last time I was really using it was the last time I had a Linux machine. Let's see here.
Okay, why do I keep getting that there's no such file or directory? Oh, I know why I do. Maybe.
Okay, we should change this. What is the time? That's funny. It says if not set, New York time will be used as used. That's fine. Email address used for SSL certificate creation. Oh, yeah, maybe that we don't want to show off. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing this. There we go. Where's my? That's not what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, perplexity enters the room.
It is control. I thought I did control. That's weird.
All right, here we go.
I guess I did. I guess I didn't hit Control O to do the same. All right, let me get out of this so I can then go ahead and see what the full directory path is.
Yup.
Okay, so it is.
How did you find your full directory path?
I just kept on changing back, changing directory. Because when you do CD space period, it goes back to the next level, and you can keep going back until you finally hit the root.
It wouldn't do that for me, but maybe it is now.
Maybe I can do it now. Let me go back to where I need to go. Oh, sorry. CD.
So it looks like it's. Oh, I see. Oh.
All right. And then let's just verify that we'll go to the Docker Academy.
I have achieved directory. Sorry, that's quite loud for people who are so frustrated with Reflexity right now. Joel says, "Oh no."
All right, so we will. And then let's go ahead and put in the tilde. What? Whoa. Oh, I am experiencing huge lag. Okay, go ahead and write that out. Yes, and then exit. All right. Back to the documentation. All right, so, oh, not that one, this one. All right, following along. Hey, Joel and June join us. Thanks.
Nice.
All right. Okay, so we made some changes to the environmental variables and successfully navigated the complexities of the text editor Nano. And now we will look at editing the Docker Compose file. Okay. It's in YAML, caddy service, defines the ports used, local volumes. Okay, cool. It needs to run some the volumes. It needs to.
All right, because
you need to change content, but take a look. Okay, so we'll go ahead and take a look so we can familiarize ourselves with it.
So I apologize for not paying attention. When you entered your data folder, did you go all the way back to like a C drive or like Or did you just go back to the root?
The data folder. You mean in
Isn't
the environmental
you're not
variable?
yeah, you're not going back to a lettered
No,
drive name
I just filled in the path. I just replaced the
directory path.
placeholder
Okay, cool.
directory path, and I replaced that with tilde. So
Oh, really?
that should, yeah.
Well, damn.
Let's see here. Oh, because that was the only directory that was available in the
That is true.
in accessing it. So it's like, oh, okay. So I went back to the root folder, and all that was next was tilde. Like, okay, let's try that.
There we go.
We'll see if that's enough for it. It should be. Okay, so now they said the Docker to compose file shouldn't be edited, but we should take a quick look at it so that we are familiar with it. So I'm going to just bring that up on screen for a second, and we can take a look. All right, this is for Caddy, right? So that's the latest image we want. These are the ports that are open. These are standard web ports. This is a variable pointing to these config files. So they should be automatically drawn in. What ports from n8n is accessed. You can see it's accessing their n8n IO, their Docker. These are variables, again, bringing in those domain names. That's grabbed from the environmental variables file, the base port that's used, what protocol. Again, these kinds of things here. I didn't put in, according to the comments on the environmental files, it said if there's nothing here, it'll just use New York time, which is fine. East Coast time should be fine for our purposes. Besides, a couple of our members are on the East Coast, so it shouldn't be too hard there.
Super appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. You know, we on the Best Coast understand and make allowances for those who live near the cold ocean. Okay. All right. Yeah, so that's what all of this looks like to me. These are just pointers to where the files it needs to draw from, what ports it's going to be accessing, and where to grab the images as they update and things like that. So we will simply exit out of there. There we go. And we will bring that back. Okay. Any questions on that? If anybody had a question before I move on, I know you're watching us about 30 seconds after we say something, and I'm lagging myself, so we'll see how that happens. Let's see. Okay, so now we're moving on to the. Oh, sorry, I should brought this one back on. Now we're moving back on to the configure the caddy, right? So this is the actual caddy file. And it needs to know which domains should serve and which port to expose to the outside world.
Did I do that?
Okay, so we'll access it. This is another text file. This caddy file is a text file that we'll use Nano to edit. And we will change the placeholder subdomain. Okay, cool. That'll be the full domain. We know what domain we're on. To use the service that is defined in the Docker bus file. Okay. Okay, so essentially all we're really changing is this part. And this is the port to go access back there. All right, so let's go ahead and bring that up in Nano. And I'll take a quick look by switching out that on the screen for you folks. Okay, so as you can see, it just looks like exactly what they showed in the documentation. So we're just going to change this to change out the placeholders. And oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right. And then we'll go ahead and do a write out, which means save. And that little caret is control, which I thought it was beforehand, but and then it'll ask you to write the file, and you just hit enter because we don't want to change that, and then exit out with another Control X. Look at that, getting a nano lesson, as well as working in the terminal. Okay. All right, so we verified that. We changed the domain and what we're looking for. And now let's go ahead and start up. It does say this may take a few minutes. So before I run it, let's pull up the shell and see if this is just going to take time or is just going to be dozens of files. Okay, here we go. Oh, okay, I don't need to make sound effects.
So it's interesting because Joel is talking about frustration with Perplexity, and the frustration that they're having is that it doesn't go deep enough into a PDF or a document. If you put documents in, it seems to only take information from the first 10 pages in a PDF or a doc. And Joe wanted it to act like a RAG, but it's not at this point. They put in a ticket, right? Support ticket. And that is one of the things that we see people using n8n automations for, is building essentially a type of RAG system that it's going to go back out and look at and then come back in.
So yes? Have you, Beth, have you loaded documents or multiple documents into Perplexity? Basically replicating what Joel is doing?
I have, but my documents tend not to have more than 10 files. I would.
And how many files can you
or
have?
10, sorry, 10, not have more than 10 pages. You can have 50 files in a space, right? So you can upload up to 50 files, but that's not helpful if it doesn't go in and look at them all or look at all the pages in all of them.
Gotcha. Is there an issue with looking at all of the documents supplied, or is it just right now how deep into a document that's supplied?
Jill seems to be saying that it's a depth issue. Looks at the first 10 pages. Okay.
And is there it's not functioning like a project or GPT, right? A custom GPT. It's just you're loading up files and trying to access the information from them, right?
Well, no, a Perplexity space is essentially the same kind of function with a custom GPT. The place where they diverge is that in a custom GPT, you can attach actions, right? Like you can associate a function or an action to give it an automation kind of instruction in the OpenAI's ChatGPT custom GPT interface. In Perplexity, you can upload more files, and it should use all of that as its context. So the files that you upload should be the equivalent of the knowledge docs that you upload in for a custom GPT. There are custom instructions that you can give in Perplexity, which functions like the instructions that you give in a custom GPT, or even like what we're talking about is also how Claude works, right? Like Claude has custom documentation for knowledge files, also has custom instructions. What is unique for Perplexity is that you get to choose the model, the default model that you want to use.
Well, I'm just wondering if that router doc idea that Brian recently tested out for custom GPTs will work for Perplexity space, because that would then allow Joel to break up the document into a smaller amount of pages, and the router would the single dock to point or grab information from the various docks?
So it is a question, like, if what you're doing is having multiple instructions and you want it to do either a sequence of instructions or you want it to do a reasoning assessment, that, like, if we're at this kind of scenario, we want to go to this other document to find more information, that could work. But if Joel really is like wanting it to pull knowledge, not instructions necessarily, but actual knowledge depth from the
Mm-hmm.
data, which is what a pure RAG system would be able to do. Um,
Mm.
so yes, my phone timer has told me that I am late for my next appointment, so I will need to go. But yes, so Joel is talking about it in the chat. And Joel, I might look at something like, oh God, I have no brains right now. What is the RAG system that we all bought into originally? It was, it had a free level. I don't remember what it was called, um, but but it had a WebSocket retrieval function that you could do, and you might be able to find a system that is pre-made if you don't want to make your own RAG, create your own RAG system using um, using something that. Yeah, I have no vocabulary now. Wow. Is it chat base? Is that what it was? Was chat base? Yes,
Yeah.
chat
Well, I
base.
mean, yeah, yeah. Chat paste would allow for that.
Um, because then you could add your like, it was designed as a RAG system initially. It's increased its functionality, I believe, but yeah, no, it is chat based. So even if you're not going to use chat based, something like that, that would give you the RAG functionality that you want, and really do that deep dive into it and then pull that information up. Um, yeah, thought about switching to Claude or ChatGPT for projects. ChatGPT is reliable but moody, in my opinion, and Claude is limited but consistent, right? Like,
Mm.
if you can get by with what Claude is going to offer you, it seems like it's a good thing. All right, well, thank you, everybody. I am out of here. Jumi, I'm handing off to you. Go. Are you in as an
Okay. Well,
admin?
thank you. I am not. So that might be the end of the stream, everybody.
Oh no!
Yeah, no, I came in as a
You
co-host, so I'm not going to be able
mm,
to keep it keep it alive. But um, all right. Well, I know you've got to go, so let's recap how far we've gotten into this live stream. All right. So number one, uh, the overall goal was to get a n8n instance up and running with a local install. We chose to create a VPS or a cloud server solution so that we could all contribute and work from a central server when we want to create our n8n automations, right? Our templates. According to n8n, one of the popular or preferred service providers is a company called Hetzner. They are a German company that has servers in a few places, mostly in Europe, but they do have two US servers for each coast. So went ahead and created their virtual server on their system, their platform, and we went through the process of um, choosing the hardware specs that we were going to get, how much CPU, RAM, storage space, that kind of thing, so that we could essentially run the instance on it. We chose all the basic lowest tier things, since this is primarily an experiment for us. We made sure that the firewall was set with the right ports that were talked about in the documentation. We created an SSH credentials, so that there's the keys, the SSH keys. So there's public and private parts of those keys. You keep the private part on your system that you're accessing remotely from, and you put in the public key into the server. Okay. Then we after after overcoming some mistakes and some hurdles, we got the server up and running, and we're able to SSH into the server. Once we did that, we just went through each of the steps that are discussed in the documentation. This is getting your Docker Composer installed, the Caddy installed, and these are all just elements to help the image download, updating, and creation, so that you can load the instance into this implementation software. This is what Docker is for. And then that way you can access n8n through a web app. Essentially, that's why you needed to open a couple of web ports like port 80 and port 443 on the server. One of the things that you need to do is, of course, add your A record into your DNS for your domain name, so that when you do your testing, you can just type in the domain with subdomain URL into your web browser, and it'll just point to the correct place where the server is and the instance can load. So right now we're just in the verification of some of the environmental settings. Side note, Beth, tilde didn't work. I got an error message. So I'm gonna have to go back and see if I can find what the full directory path is. I think it's just etc, but I'll double check that. And then and then from there, we'll just verify, see if we can get n8n up and running, and maybe there will be a part 2 of another live stream to complete that part of the process from where we are leaving off here. Nice. I want to thank everybody who joined us, and because this is a bit of a, like I said, learn with us, build with us as we're going through this. It's all new to us, so it took a little longer than I would have anticipated. Yeah, and thanks for hanging in, all of our OGs from joining us normally on DAS each day, and anybody new popped in. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you do like these pop-up lives and whatnot, let us know and we'll do more.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Aloha.